Good morning, it is May 2nd, 2017, and I just woke up. But we're here, and we're doing this. So, yesterday I tweeted that I had done a bunch of animation work lately for my client, and I really enjoyed it. And a bunch of people had questions. Some other people were like, hey, do you want to do more of this work? Like, we're looking for people to do animations. And I was like, oh, geez, like, I was just like, I like what I'm working on. I wasn't like trying to start a big conversation or look for more work or like, but I'm happy about both of those things. So it was kind of a surprise, just like a one-off tweet, and then I got like a bunch of response. It's cool. Anyway, so when I worked on this app called Lightly a while back, I'll put a blog post link in the description on that project. One of my better blog posts, I think. Or like, there's a lot of pretty pictures. Anyway, before that I was kind of like, I'm sick of iOS, I don't want to do anymore. I'm gonna work on this other project. It was called Button. Super stupid, didn't work out. And there's an app called Button, unrelated. It was a physical like button. Anyway, yes, so hated iOS, worked on this project called Lightly, and there was a ton of fun animations in it. And then I was like, all right, this is fun again. So doing the animations is what saved me from my like burnout, I guess. I'd say it's the same this time around, which is cool. It's interesting, like, or cool that some of those animations I did for Lightly ended up in a WWDC talk on how to like do onboarding well, which is just stuff I just like made up as I was making it. It wasn't stuff the client designed, which was cool. I mean, he designed a lot of it, like, not to take his credit, like, he did a phenomenal job. But anyway, so some people were asking about the process, like how I work with a designer to like implement the animations or how they give them to me and that sort of thing. So that I just talk through like two examples or a couple examples from this app on how like the handoff works and the workflow and like how we talk about animations and all that stuff. So I definitely don't consider myself like a motion designer or like an animator or any of that sort of thing, but I've done animations a lot over the years. So I've done this a few times, but I'm not like, this isn't my deal. So maybe there's like a way to do this for real, like an industry way, but I don't know. Anyway, that's how I do it. They handed me, so they have a designer. I'm a contractor for this company, obviously, and they have a designer, which I think is also a contractor, like 90% sure. But anyway, she's not around very much, but she handed off the design to the client, like before I started, and then I started, and there's like the client's like, here's the folder from her on Google Drive, like, go nuts. So there was a couple of GIFs in there that showed like this, there's like this circle, like floating button, kind of like in the Google apps, like the plus or the compose button or whatever is like floating in the bottom. There's that, and you can tap it, it's like a plus, and it turns into an X, and like some other buttons fly out of it. It's like a, hopefully you can visualize that. It's like a very googly thing. So they had a GIF like showing that really roughly. Like the timing was really bad, it was like kind of jerky, and it was more just to show like, here's what I want. But more helpful was like in Sketch, they had an artboard with like close and one with open, and it was easy enough to kind of like extrapolate in my mind. So some of it was like, okay, I'll just make this like close to the GIF, but I'm gonna like make my own timing because the GIF was real choppy. And there's a couple other things, like I'll animate the alpha a little differently and animate this other thing a little differently. Like, just like the GIF was really choppy and hard to see, which I'm a fan of personally, because it let me kind of just do what I wanted. Yeah, I think the end result looks really nice, and the client was really into it. So with that one, I didn't really like talk to the client about what I was working on or the designer. I just kind of did what I wanted to do. That looked like, you know, was definitely like what they were going for, and they were into it. So that was cool. Yeah, that was a pretty easy one. There wasn't much back and forth. As I'm working on this though, I'll send lots of like screen recordings of the simulator, of the animation, like as I'm starting out, like look at dims, and like look at expands, and look at like spins, and you know. And I found that clients like really like that stuff. especially non-technical ones. Like in my previous project, I had a couple like physics things. You could like drag this like modal thing and it would like snap back with physics, so you could like play with it. And it would... Anyway, client was super into that. So if you're working on animation work, send videos a lot in Slack. People love that crap. Which is, I mean, I'm excited to show it. You know, it's good. So there's another one where they have the same plus button, and then depending on some other state, it morphs into like a send button temporarily, and then like morphs back to the plus. So it's like a plus icon, and they wanted it to like, imagine there's a line here. I don't have enough hands, but it would just like morph into an arrow. But they had this whole line like spin 180 plus 45 degrees or something. You know, it would like spin like a lot, like more than one revolution, like for the line, and then like morph. It looks really bad in the GIF. Also, it's like choppy and there's bad timing, so it's like kind of hard to tell. Maybe it looked nice on their computer when they made it, but I thought it looked bad. So like, what if we just like bend the arrow and not spin it? Because even in the GIF, it like spun and then snapped to the arrow, which looked bad. So I was like, let's just morph the arrow and, you know, be done with it. And they're like, yeah, that sounds cool. But it didn't look very like pressable, or like that you could, like it didn't look like the state changed, it just looked like the arrow moved. It was kind of subtle. So like, let's like animate the background color to like send color. And they've been really good so far. They have like only a handful of colors, like 4 maybe, of like this means like user input, and this means like some other thing, and this is like the selected state, and this is the unselected state, and like that's basically it. And they had like some other whatever. They have very few colors, which is awesome. Like really good to see restraint there. A lot of designers, that is my biggest gripe with designers when I start a project that hasn't worked with iOS people before. They have way too many fonts and way too many colors. I want all the colors and fonts to be named. Like this is like title font, and it's like whatever weight and point size, and like that's all fine, but like it needs a name. And if you name them all, you don't go nuts and like, well, just make it like 1 pixel smaller here because it looks visually nicer. Like, hate that crap. Anyway, so we debated for a bit, and we're still going back and forth on it a little. It's not totally wrapped up, but it was like, I think we need another color here to show that the state has changed. The animation is not enough, even if we did the crazy animation. I'm like, no, we agree. Let's like think about it and be intentional. And we added a new color, and you know, they're still thinking about it some more, but that was all just like my suggestion over Slack. So I'm just like in Slack, like what if we did this, and just using words to explain, like I like bend in quotes to like, you know, imagine this, and just being very descriptive in Slack with text. And then they're like, yeah, that seems cool. And I was like, okay, give me a few minutes. And I went and made it, and then came back and sent them a video, and they're like, yes, this is cool. Yes, I agree, we need the color. Did another video with the color, like great, you know. So that whole process, I'm working with like the CEO, which is like very involved in the design and product stuff. It's a really small company. So not the designer, because they don't have a designer. So, but I mean, I've done the same sort of thing with designers in the past. Like they're the one that came up with the design, like the animation, but they're still the one that like signs off on it. So it's the same process no matter who you're working with, I think. So yeah, they had a couple ideas and like threw them out, and you know, just text, and you know, like, oh, that's great, let's incorporate that into what I was thinking. And it's a very nice collaborative process, and it was great that we can do it with just text, and we can all just use our minds and think about it, and then I can make it and show it concretely, and everyone's like on board. I feel like so much time is wasted with like, what if, hold on, and then I'm gonna go like spend 3 hours in a prototyping tool and come back and show you like a bend. And I'm like, okay, like we could have just used words. I don't know. Pretty burned out on, I have some like, I'm not a big fan of prototyping, it's the thing. If you're in this sort of like discovery phase, if you're just like making the whole thing and the developer has no say, and you just like hand them a prototype and like make it exactly like this, then it's a great thing, but I think that's a flawed mindset. Anyway, I'm gonna go finish these, which is cool. I have until Thursday, end of day, to finish these, because Friday we're flying to San Francisco for a wedding. Pretty excited about that. So I'll be back on Tuesday. I may I'll be done with my client then, which would be cool. So I may go see a friend and work on another secret project. It's like an electronics project too, which is cool. So anyway, we'll see. 10 minutes, this is very long. What do you think of these? This is my third daily one. I'm gonna try to keep doing these more regularly now that I have a second channel. Big fan of that. Do you want them to be shorter? Today I just like picked a topic and talked about it. Same for yesterday really. I just like talked about AI. Do you prefer more of like, let me just talk about a thing that's relevant to what I'm working on? Or do you want to hear like, this is exactly what I did yesterday and this is what I'm doing today? Also, I guess if it's client related, I can't say some of the time. But I think today was like abstract enough about what I did yesterday. And today I already want to work on it some more. So, I don't know. Anyway, if you have thoughts on this format, or if you like these, or you don't like these, or you want me to edit them, or any of that sort of stuff, please leave a comment. I will read all of the comments. Yes. Although I probably won't edit them, because this is the second channel. I'm not going to edit them. That's the thing. Pretty excited about. I had an idea to do, like, I'm going to go make breakfast in a second, but I was like, I'm going to, like, video of me opening the fridge and, like, pouring stuff into a bowl and all that sort of junk to make, like, a little breakfast montage. And I was like, no, that's going to take forever. I don't want to do that. I just want to get to work, so. You can imagine how artsy this could have been if I had shot some time lapses and some B-roll and yeah, waste of time for this sort of. All right, I'm just rambling now. I'm gonna go. 12 minutes. Have a good day.